stay humble means treat the person who is beneath you in a different class to the same person who's above you in a different class. It's an equal playing field, and we have to treat everyone with the same respect. And that's why, people fight for equality. And I think that's important, and that's why I mix stay hungry and stay humble together in such a fine way that they gel together well. Stay hungry, stay humble.
Anthony Joshua isn't just preparing for Jake Paul. He's marching into camp like a man on a personal mission to remind the planet that he wasn't accidentally built in a lab for destruction. He's training like someone who's tired of being talked about in past tense, like someone who wants to reintroduce himself as the heavyweight architect of chaos. His routine looks less like a boxing camp and more like a warrior initiation.
It's not a game because I want to see some blood. I want to see somebody's teeth falling out. So I told Anthony, I already messaged Anthony as I listen. I tell you what, I said to AJ, if this goes past 5 rounds, everybody's going to be having a go at you because you can't go past 5 rounds with this kid. It has to go past 1 round or 2 rounds. Past beyond 4 or 5 rounds, people are going to be doubting you as a fighter himself. So he has to smoke him out like what he did Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia in 1 round.
Crack of dawn grind sessions, sweat pouring down before the sun even clocks in, power training that makes 100-kilo plates look like decorations, and conditioning circuits that would leave pro athletes begging for oxygen while AJ strolls to the next station unfazed. His footwork? Laser-etched. His combinations? They don't land. They detonate. Sparring partners walk in confident and leave looking like they witnessed a natural disaster. Because Joshua isn't preparing for a fight. He's preparing to dominate to the point where the fight barely even happens.
To mention, Jake Paul slapped a weight restriction clause on Anthony Joshua despite the fact that this is being fought at heavyweight. Now, in case you missed it, AJ is not allowed to weigh in more than 245 pounds for this fight. And for context, AJ has weighed in more than 250 since after his 2022 fight against Alexander Usyk.
His coaches swear they haven't seen this version of him since the days he carved his name into Olympic history. There's no smile, no drift, no softness, just that cold, surgical concentration of a man who knows exactly what he can do and intends to do all of it. And buried in all that heavy artillery, there's one weapon people keep sleeping on. Everyone gets obsessed with his cross, his jab, his torque. But Jake Paul's biggest nightmare isn't any of those, it's the uppercut that built highlight reels and altered chromosomes. Because Jake has one instinct when he's rattled. He collapses forward like he's trying to fold himself into a suitcase. That duck and pray reaction? That's the exact doorway Joshua loves to send people through.
We've already sparred with Joshua, we can expect the best. So it prepares us to be the sharpest and the best that we can be. As I've come out, Fraser's gone in, and it's good to be sharp 3 rounds. You can have another good sharp 3 rounds there.
How I keep positive, I would say, is every time it gets tough, and when I feel like I don't want to do it, there is someone out there in this world laying on a hospital bed, begging for a second chance at life. I'm sitting there healthy, with good friends, heating, light, running tap water. I don't think I have any excuse to not go hard or live life with a smile on my face.
If AJ baits Jake with even the slightest fake, that uppercut isn't just waiting, it's hiding under the floorboards with a sledgehammer. It's the punch that doesn't simply stun you, it rewrites your internal software. And unless Joshua walks into the ring having a spiritual meltdown, forgetting he's a heavyweight built like a monument, this story ends the way science, mass, leverage, and orbital mechanics say it should. Jake Paul can fight.
Let's say it for you, okay?
Done. No, please,
if Jake
done.
Paul
No.
beats Anthony Joshua by a knockout, this is a million times better than what I always have thought was a very ill-conceived event with Tank Davis. So whatever you think about Jake and some of the types of fights that he has made, you got to give him credit for at least everybody has said for a long time now, fight a real fighter, fight a real boxer. Well, Anthony Joshua was absolutely a real boxer, a real fighter.
Sure, but Anthony Joshua, he can rewrite eras. When an undersized showman steps into the blast radius of a man whose fists were engineered to dismantle giants, the universe doesn't debate the ending. it rubber stamps it. And since we're already talking about people getting folded by the laws of physics, that brings us straight to Dan Rafael, who reacted to this matchup like a reporter, who accidentally opened the wrong tab and found himself inside a catastrophe preview. Dan basically sat there saying, yeah, AJ might be coming off a year plus on the shelf, recovering from elbow repairs and still dusting off the memory of that Dubois KO where his lights flickered like a faulty.
Deny that. Like you said, two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. Now, he may not be at what he was when he was absolute peak. There's no doubt that Anthony Joshua was beyond his apex of his career. But even though he'll be coming off of about a 14-month layoff. Yeah. He's coming off having had surgery on his elbow. He's coming off of a very, very, very difficult, brutal, hard knockout loss in the Dubois fight.
Street lamp. But even with all that, he's still one of the most dangerous heavyweights alive. And he's not lying. Joshua at 70% is still a problem for 99% of the division. Sure, Jake Paul deserves credit. The guy went from throwing TikTok punches to drilling combos like he's actually done homework. But Dan's sources, the real lifers in this sport, the people who scout monsters for a living, are looking at this fight like Jake accidentally selected nightmare mode and forgot to bring extra lives.
Paul certainly has gotten better since he fought Tommy Fury. He's certainly gotten better over the last number of fights. Now, is he at an elite world-class level? Probably not yet. He may never get to that level, but so you got to give him props. He's taken on a guy that I spend part of my morning talking to different boxing matchmakers, people I've known for decades in this business, who have vast experience of building fighters and moving fighters and developing them, and they know a lot better than you or me what they're looking at. And to a person, they were like, they don't understand why Jake took this fight because they think it's, one person used the...
One insider even dropped the word beheading, and you could see Dan fighting the urge to grin like, my brother in Christ, this is still going on YouTube. And honestly, who can blame him? When the matchmakers look uneasy, when managers start blinking in Morse code, and when seasoned journalists shift into end-of-the-world metaphors, that's not buildup, that's a warning label. Jake didn't just accept the challenge, he sprinted toward it like someone who didn't read the fine print. Now the rest of us get to sit back and figure out whether this becomes the miracle he's been chasing, or the kind of knockout that racks up 10 million views before breakfast. Either way, circle the date December 19th.
Has abilities to win this fight. A lot of them involved moral victories. A lot of them involved getting out of the first round. And a lot of them would involve getting out of the first 2 rounds and haven't been knocked down yet. One would be getting out of the 3rd round, you've only been on the canvas once, and you got up to your feet, you shook it off, and you're ready to keep going. Like, these things are all victories, but the fight that it's going to happen, I think it's a big deal for Jake Paul. I think it's a big deal for everybody involved. I think it's a big deal that Francis looks at that fight and realizes, oh, these things make sense. These things that make dollars, they make sense. That's his business. This was his opportunity that he missed out on. And now Joshua's gonna have a lot of fun.
Isn't a fight night. It's a countdown to whatever form of madness decides to show up. Look, Carl Froch's chaos is always the secret seasoning the algorithm can't resist. But let me plant a real flag here. This fight is the thermometer for where modern boxing actually stands. If Joshua snaps his rhythm back, dictates the range like a general, and times that nuclear uppercut right when Jake dips into his panic crouch, we're talking a throwback knockout, the kind that resets everyone's expectations and reminds the sport why heavyweight power isn't a suggestion, it's a natural law. AJ gets his paycheck.
Get it out like Dana. So it's a very bad idea because it's everything that everybody's ever wanted they're going to be given. Dana said, be careful with what you ask for. And what Dana's talking about is they want to see Josh Paul fight a seasoned, in his prime, of his size, real boxer. And that's what Joshua is. So Dana's talking about you're going to get what you asked for. Well, what you asked for is a real fight. What you asked for is for somebody with the power and the danger to beat your ass. What you, the audience, have asked for Jake Paul is that you want to see somebody end this experience.
Fans get their closure and the circus gets thrown out of the main ring for a night. But if AJ strolls in with tourist energy, if he gets too comfortable, too charitable, too I'm here for a payday, the internet is going to barbecue him. Froch's career-finished rant will get clipped, stitched, remixed, and tattooed across every comment section like scripture. Because this isn't just a fight, it's a vibe check for AJ, for boxing, and for anyone still pretending this matchup doesn't have consequences. And honestly, I'm greedy. Or if Anthony Joshua sends him into the multiverse with one perfectly placed reminder of what real power feels like. So fire off your take. Is this a miracle loading, a mismatch simmering, or the most watchable demolition job in recent boxing history? And hit like, smash subscribe, and stay tapped in with Boxing Headquarters. See you in the next one.